Welcome to another edition of Great Health, Abundant Happiness, and Outrageous Love. I think we're going to wrap up our series on
self-sabotage.
I was saying self-destructiveness, but I guess it is a similar
Exactly.
concept.
Yeah. Your mind was
Right.
trying to add in a definition
Right.
there. Yeah. So we've done 3 videos on self-sabotaging relationships, why people do it, how they do it, the pattern of it. So if you have found that your relationships always seem to go a certain way, this 4-part series, this is the wrap up. This 4-part series will change your life and really, give you the information that you need in order to get rid of this pattern and move forward.
It'll only change your life if you put it to work.
That's right. Well,
Yeah.
you have to put it to work.
Exactly.
You have to want to change.
Exactly.
So we're just gonna, Jeffrey and I are reading this book and certain parts of it, and we're sharing it with everyone. And so this will be the final section on self-sabotage.
Okay.
So in culmination, the irony of self-sabotage is actually us intentionally destroying our own journey of what we think is our desired result. We're actually more comfortable failing and or unable to accept the desired result because we don't feel worthy, not good enough, or truly don't want a relationship. It takes the same effort to choose not to self-sabotage by letting the journey unfold, focusing on the gift of it with the intent of fully engaging in love without expectation. Focusing on the experience and all you can do to enjoy and enhance it instead of focusing on the destruction of it or questioning its purity. I think that's really important. And let me reread that. Focusing on the experience and all you can do to enjoy and enhance it instead of focusing on the destruction of it or questioning its purity. I mean, that's really the essence of self-sabotage right there, is that, everything is so great, and then all of a sudden you go ahead and question this pure, beautiful, unfolding of that honeymoon phase of a relationship.
Well, you're only doing that because you truly don't want it or don't feel that you're good enough for it.
Right.
So, and that's what you're talking about is, I love the saying, where focus goes, energy flows.
Right.
So where you're talking about whether you focus on building a relationship or destroying a relationship, you get what you focus on.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the same way with anything else, whether it's building a career or, self-sabotaging a career. A lot of people do that too.
Right.
They call it the Peter principle, I think. When you get to above a level that you think you're able to hold,
right,
you end up falling. You destroy the situation, right?
Exactly. And, although we are specifically talking about relationships, this does really, relate to all aspects of life where we, many people self-sabotage their jobs or their growth in their jobs, and their friendships, etc. So if we can be open to learning the process and be open to a different journey with a different outcome, that's the key. It's a choice. If we focus on it dissolving and all that can go wrong, it will dissolve. If we focus on the present of the journey and all that is good about it, then you will reap the benefits today and in the future. This scenario also allows you to grow within yourself while simultaneously letting the relationship unfold organically, as long as you don't lose sight of yourself first. This is interesting. So usually in a relationship, both people come together, and it works when both people are 100%. But
100%.
100%
ready. Full of self-love, right?
Self-love, self-worth. You're just at that great place where you're overflowing. So it's super easy for it to come back. But what this is saying is that if you let it unfold organically, as long as you don't lose sight of yourself first, that, it can still work. It's not the ideal situation, but it can still work, which is great to know, because a lot of us haven't finished our journey of, we're constantly bettering ourselves, but that journey of self-love, which, once that is complete, I think you really do get to hold on to it most of the time. So therefore, even if one person is complete and the other is in a very good place within their own journey to self-love, it's not ideal, but very possible for the relationship to succeed. Sometimes in this situation, couples will take a break to finish their individual work and will come together again when and if timing is right and life's circumstances are aligned. If they don't come back together, they'll usually go on to meet the one shortly after.
Yeah, no, Karen doesn't like it when I, relate this stuff to business, but the only reason why I do that, I tie this back and forth because all of this stuff that we're teaching on and sharing the secrets on are used in multiple areas of life.
Absolutely.
So I'm just thinking too, so really what you're saying is someone really wasn't up to the task fully, but they're on their way.
Yes.
We can still make it work. So if when we got together for some reason, if I wasn't fully full with self-love and confident in myself, and you were, I would have to work on that, and we could still make the relationship work.
Right.
Or just like someone takes a job and they're a great salesperson, and all of a sudden they take the job as a sales manager, they don't really have the nurturing piece. That's always an issue, right? They're a great salesperson. They can help other salespeople, but if you don't have the nurturing piece, you can't take care of the other salespeople. You don't really care. You don't have enough empathy about your people. Therefore, you're not a great manager. But if you're kind of working on that, you can work yourself into the role. It doesn't mean you start on it, boom, you're done. If you're willing to work on it, I guess is what you're saying here.
Right. Well, Jeffrey loves to talk about business, and I love to talk about love. So it's not that I don't like when you bring business up. It's just my passion is love. I love everything about love. So that's usually where I focus everything on. But in the scenario of business, perfect example, if a salesperson gets promoted to sales manager and he or she is not 100% confident in their skills in this higher job, so therefore their inner self, their inner work is not complete. But if given the right scenario where it can organically unfold, and if the people and or the person that they're working with is the right fit to make that grow, then yes, it definitely can happen, on the fly, so to speak.
Yeah, it's all about that person that's been promoted. It's all about them, do they want it or not? Because, when it comes down to self-sabotage, just like it sounds, the person is doing the sabotaging to themselves. So you have a choice. You can either say, oh, this job's not for me. By the way, this is all subconscious. This job's not for me. I'm going to just let it fall by the wayside, and I'm going to go back to selling and not be a manager. Or going back to the love is, I'm going to make this relationship work because I see this and I see the end of the journey, and it's what I want. I want this loving relationship. You're going to take those last steps to fill yourself with self-love so that you can give that love your 100% into the relationship. We say this a lot too. Both parties have to give 100%. Right. People make the mistake, well, I'm going to give 50% and she's going to give 50%. Doesn't really work that way. Right. Each person has to give 100%. No one wants to get half.
Right. And the issue is in this particular scenario, which is why it's not ideal, but that doesn't mean that it can't work. If the person is very close to, having that fullness of self-worth and self-value and self-love, then they're giving close to that 100%. If it's a 50, if they're only able to give 50% or 75%, chances are that relationship's not going to work. So we're talking about somebody who's really close to, fulfilling their own self-value, and where they know that they're worthy and they really desire to have, that end goal, so they can simultaneously complete themselves while in a relationship. And sometimes they need to step back and say, or they'll self-sabotage because they're not ready, all sorts of things. And then sometimes they can come back together when both people are complete.
So let's, I think you have a little bit left here.
No, that was it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So essentially we wrapped up with, if they don't come back together, so if that relationship ends, they'll usually go on to meet the one after shortly. And the reason is, and we're going to do our next video in that, which is outside of the self-sabotaging series, but because the person has now learned the tools to move forward instead of sabotaging his or her own relationships.
Okay, makes sense.
Wishing you great health, abundant happiness, and outrageous love from the nest of Copper Mountain.
Thanks for listening, guys. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so and click off up here. We'd love to have you on board. We'd love to hear your comments too. As we develop these concepts, we are looking for input from all you guys out there in YouTube land and everywhere else. Thank you.